Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a fairly new palette from Tarte. It's the Tarteist Pro palette. I was so excited when I saw it. The colors in here are absolutely gorgeous. This retails for $53 and it has 20 pans of color. So of the 20 pans, 16 of them, everything from here over, are matte. And then there are the 4 duochrome shimmers down the side over here. Each pan contains 1 gram of eyeshadow, so that's 20 grams of eyeshadow in the palette for the $53. It certainly isn't inexpensive, but you do get a lot, I think, for the money here with the number of shades and that there is a mix of mattes and shimmers. On the packaging, it really is quite a heavyweight palette. It has some nice heft to it. It's got the matte black cover, which of course will show every fingerprint. The back is a nice shiny gold, which also will show every fingerprint. And it has a very nice large mirror if you like to do your makeup in the mirror of your palette. The other thing is that the lid is thin enough that you can also use it as a fallout guard underneath, which is something that I like to do quite often. As far as the pans of color are concerned, some are buttery and creamy, some feel a little bit hard to the touch. It seems like it's like harder towards this side and then they get softer towards this side. I find that the ones that are the hardest feel are the darkest ones, which is actually fine for me because with a dark color, I really don't want to pick up a lot of color on my brush. I don't want to see that color flying up in the air all over the place. I don't want to see a ton of it falling off when I tap off my brush. But as far as the placement of the colors, they did that fairly smart so that most of the warm colors are up here on the top row, so you could just run from lightest to darkest to create a nice warm toned look, especially in the fall with the coordinating shimmer color that goes with it. Then the next row I think is not quite as Makeup 101, but it does provide you with the 4 shades that you might use if you were going to do like a very purpley look. You would just go right down the row with those, and then this gold colored shimmer does look really nice with it. Then the third row is kind of where I get a little bit lost because this color is one that I probably would not use very often, but I think the colors that they put around it are things that you would definitely use with it, maybe to tone it down a little bit. And then the bottom row I feel like is just more your neutrals altogether. So it's a really nice bottom row where you could even just use these for another eye look. This is the only duochrome in the palette where they said that these all 4 were duochromes. This one really is the only one that is because a duochrome really will look 2 different colors depending on how the light's hitting it. So this one does have that effect. The other ones don't really. And looking at the entire palette swatch down my arm, I like to do this to see if there are a lot of repeat colors that they could have left out and swapped in with something else. And looking at these, I don't really feel like there are too many that are duplicates of other colors where they're too close that you can't really see any differentiation. Now I have heard a lot of the talk online about why this is getting mixed reviews. I have watched a number of reviews. I've seen some really glowing reviews on this palette. I've seen some really scathing reviews on this palette. Tarte actually invited a number of very big YouTubers to Bora Bora to announce the launch of this product, and I'm like, oh my god, that is amazing that Tarte has that kind of money to burn. Sometimes it makes me think that we are all just victims in this cycle of hyping this makeup so that the makeup companies are getting richer and richer. But anyway, so I guess a lot of people are speculating that a lot of the negative reviews are because some people didn't get invited to Bora Bora and give it a bad review, which I'm like, oh gosh, I can't imagine really doing that, but that's just me. I mean, they didn't send me the product, so I went out and bought it. It's an interesting thing about YouTube. I don't really know how I feel about it, but I hadn't heard that kind of trip was happening. I mean, like I sit in my little room here in Massachusetts and I make videos and literally no one is contacting me to go anywhere or do anything. So now one of the biggest criticisms I've heard is that they just muddy up when you put them on and the color payout doesn't stay true. And so I did a little demo using some of the colors in here. So today I used Vintage all over the movable part of my lid. Then I went in with Chic on a nice soft fluffy brush in the crease and above. Then I used Profesh, so I used that deeper in the crease with my MAC 221 brush. And then I went in with Fierce on a pencil brush deep into the crease to get that purple. Then I applied the warm plum color No Filter in a wedge at the outer corner of each eye. Then I used a blending brush to blend everything out and get it all nice and smooth and seamless. I went in with Minx on the outer part of the movable lid, and then I used Glam on the movable lid just with a brush. Once it's finished and all blended out, it's a very pretty eyeshadow look, I think. But does it look like I used 6 different colors on my eye, 3 of which were fairly colorful purple shades? No, it doesn't. So I would say that yes, they do blend together a bit and the colors don't really stay true to themselves. Do I think that these blended away to mud? I don't. I think they actually look quite nice. When I want to wear colored eyeshadow, I don't want it to be like this on my eyelid. You know, I mean, it's not, I'm not going to the club, it's not 1970. I want a nice subtle color. What I like about these colors is that they have a lot of gray in them, and that's what makes colors wearable to me, is that they're dulled down a little bit. I've had them on for about an hour now. I've also heard a criticism that after an hour the color just completely disappears. I do always wear primer with my eyeshadow. I find that every eyeshadow on the planet needs an eyeshadow primer, otherwise it ends up in my crease, so I cannot wear eyeshadow without primer. The primer that I always use is the same one I use today, which is from Tarte as well. It's the Tarte Clean Slate 360 Creaseless. This is my favorite for older, like hooded, crepey eyes. It really smooths out my eyelid. And I gotta say, these shadows with the Amazonian clay in them, they really do make my eyelids look kind of smoothed out. Like sometimes I put on eyeshadow and it's so thick and cakey and powdery, excuse me, that it actually makes my crepey skin up there look worse. And these really don't, even though they're mattes, they're not heavy mattes, they're not making my eyelid look bad. So, you know, I'm really liking this palette, but I will check in a couple hours to let you know how the colors wear. Hey you guys, I'm back. It's about 10:30 at night now. Let's see, I've videotaped today. I went to a Celtics game. They won, yay, go Celts. I'm finding that it actually wore pretty darn well after 10 hours. I feel like definitely, my gosh, the shimmer shadow, wow, is that still on there? And looking in my mirror, I can still see that this is like a plummy purple here and kind of a pinky tone up there. So I don't think it's the worst eyeshadow I've ever put on, certainly. It's probably not the best either. It's somewhere in between, but I definitely like the palette. I think it has you know, a lot of nice colors and a lot of versatility, and they're easy to blend. So for me, this is a good palette. I've enjoyed using it more than the other 2 palettes that I did purchase recently. So, you know, I know you really want to know, like, do I need this palette? Do I have to have this palette? Absolutely not. If you have another palette that you bought this year that you are in love with, then you might not need this palette. But if you're someone who loves to have all the palettes that come out, you want a quality palette, very versatile, lots of different colors that you could do lots of different looks with, then it's a good palette, and I would say that you would be happy with it, because I am. So I enjoyed the palette, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. I hope you found the video helpful and informative. And as always, I thank you for your time. So I will see you in the next video, everybody. So take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.